I call this May 1st Planning Commission meeting to order. Thank you for joining us tonight. We only have 2 items to consider. The UDC amendments have been deferred by staff until July 10th, 2025. Before we consider the 2 items, we need to consider the minutes for April 3rd, 2025 meeting. Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the April 3rd meeting, please.
I'll second.
Okay, motion has been made and properly seconded. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, the first item, and both are going to be presented by Ms. Cook.
Can I read the public hearing procedure?
Yes, sure, you can.
An individual requesting to be heard on a matter related to the purpose of the hearing must be recognized by the chair before addressing the commission. Upon rising to speak, the speaker must identify himself or herself and furnish a home or business address before proceeding with any comments or remarks. The commission will allow the proponents a total of 10 minutes to speak in support of an application. Opponents will also be allowed 10 minutes to speak in opposition. Comments are accepted first from the applicant, followed by persons speaking in favor, and then from those in opposition. Upon conclusion of any opposing comments or presentations, the chair will allow the applicant to offer rebuttal if any time is remaining in the original allotted 10 minutes, and the chair can add time if he so chooses. Thank you.
Thank you. CU-25-08, VPP Animal Hospital. Kathy?
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. This next item before you, the applicant, Christopher Kidd, is requesting a conditional use to allow an animal hospital, small animals, for VPP Animal Hospital in a 4,525 square foot suite within an existing shopping center. Property is located at 12460 Crabapple Road, Suite 103 in the Crabapple Village Shopping Center. The 14.7 acre property is zoned C2. Surrounding properties are also C2 and OP. The Crabapple Village is developed with the 1-story shopping center. Kroger is the anchor. There's other uses in the shopping center. Some of those include Domino's, Subway, La Vida Massage, Dos Margaritas, and Wellstar. That's a few of them. The applicant's business is proposed in Suite 103, which was previously occupied by Petco, and I'll show you where that is on the map. So that's at that corner suite when you come in off of Crabapple Road, right here that's highlighted. According to the application, the animal hospital is a new general practice animal hospital which provides preventative care, wellness care, full-service surgeries. There's no boarding. The overnight stay would just be after surgery, so there's no long-term boarding of cats and dogs. Dr. Forrester Golston will be the primary veterinarian and co-owner of the practice and is an advanced orthopedic surgeon known for his ACL repair capabilities. The business, again, does not offer the boarding. The hours of operation will be Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The applicant is estimating about 8 employees for the business, and there will be some improvements to the suite to help with the noise impact. And a pet relief area is also proposed and to be located at the front of the building. And there should have been a plan included within your packet. I know sometimes when we have an animal hospital come through, that's one of the questions of where will that, emergency pet relief area be located. The report submitted by the applicant states that they notified all property owners within 500 feet. They did receive a couple comments about how will the pet relief area be maintained, who will maintain that, as well as would there be any boarding at the business. Staff reviewed the applicant's proposal against the review criteria for conditional use, and we believe the use would be compatible with surrounding uses and other locations for this business type, and we are recommending approval with 7 conditions. It's recommended approval with number 1, animal hospital, small animals shall be added as a conditional use. 2, conditional use approval shall be limited to this specific animal hospital. 3, with the business hours. 4, boarding of animals shall be limited to short-term care incidental to the hospital use. 5, deals with the maintenance of the pet waste station. 6, as submitted by the applicant, the interior improvements to for the attenuation measures for noise shall be included. And 7, mobile resources supporting the business, such as a mobile MRI or X-ray, shall not be visible from the public right-of-way. And that concludes staff recommendation. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those.
Thank you, Kathy. Do we have 12 animal hospitals currently in the city, the ones that are listed in the application?
Yes, and it looks like the closest one is in the city of Roswell.
Okay. I think there was a former president who said that the society is known by the way they handle or take care of the animals.
Very true. A lot of animals in
Character
Alpharetta.
of a city, yeah. Thank you. Any questions for Kathy?
Kathy, I do have one before you leave. On page 2 of the staff report, the hours, those were provided by the applicant?
They
I was
were.
surprised to see 8 to 6 on Sunday, so. Okay.
Yes, and I went back and looked at that too to recheck. That's something that they sent us an email requesting that those hours be incorporated.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Going to ask the applicant to come forward and make a presentation. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Christopher Kidd. I'm with Christopher Kidd & Associates Architects and Planners. My address is 15380 Kata, K-A-T-A Drive, Elm Grove, Wisconsin, 53122. I'm a licensed architect in the state of Georgia, and I'm the project manager and principal for this project. And this is Dr. Forrester, who is the owner and the veterinarian physician for this facility.
Thank you. Do you have any presentation, anything to add to the?
Staff and I and my firm have worked very closely, as well as with Dr. Forrester, and we have reviewed the recommendations and the 7 conditions, and we agree with those conditions. We have no problem with that. We're working on the detail for sound attenuation for the wall that separates us from the subway, and we'll submit that to staff with the calculations that back up that. Our biggest problem is the wonderful smell of the bread coming through the wall that I noticed when I was there a couple weeks ago. As far as the pet, the pet waste, or the requirement for a pet waste station, we would have that in our relief area. The relief area is enclosed. It'll be a grass area. If you were to go out there today, it's a brick paver, solid surface. We'll remove all that and put a nice fence around that with a gate and some seating and some plantings so that there will be a relief area for our pets, and that will be cleaned daily because we want it to be nice. It's our home, it's our facility. So I'd be glad to answer any questions, and I know very little about veterinary medicine except I have a vet appointment next Friday with my dog. But Forrester can answer any questions.
You know one, a good one.
I have just a general question that maybe the doctor could answer. Like, what is the difference between like a pet hospital, a clinic, and like an emergency? So you're not a 24-hour emergency. Right. So what's the difference between the distinction?
So historically, I guess hospital implies, what overnight care, and you admit the patient to the hospital for, generally around-the-clock care. And there's a lot of places like Alpharetta Animal Hospital where, it's called hospital, but they have normal GP hours. So I completely, intend to stay, daytime hours. I'm not interested in staying there all night. And, they're with the exception, that's kind of why we were looking at the extended hours. maybe initially on Sunday, we'd have a few hours if possible, or, part day just to stand out and be different and offer a different avenue for people. But, we provide preventative care, routine surgeries, orthopedics, where typically emergency care is, Fluffy ate something and you need to be seen right away at 8 o'clock at night. So, there's plenty of emergency hospitals here for, to send that stuff to.
Yep, my Cocker Spaniel had 2 ACLs
Yeah.
actually done at the same time, and they actually kept him for a
Right.
couple nights, so.
You
That's-
can. There's been a lot of good advancements with pain control in dogs. So, I've been doing orthopedic surgery for a while, and a lot of them, you can get them numbed up and they're doing well, and they don't really necessarily have to stay overnight unless there's complications. So typically with stuff, they come in the morning, get surgery, as long as surgery goes well and there's no complications, they go home that afternoon.
Wow.
I don't generally like keeping animals there that aren't stable anyways. So, unless it's just a, occasional dog that may need to be on fluids, that's stable, sometimes they will stay there, but it's always best to send them to an overnight facility to have eyes on them. So I'm not really trying to be there all night. So, I typically try to get the more critical cases out the door. So I'm not really, looking to have barking animals there overnight anyway. So,
Yeah. All right, well, thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions?
No, and I do appreciate it, and I was excited to see the ACL as someone who's had to fund that. I think having a little more competition in the area is always good.
Yeah. it's good
So
job
I think that's a
security.
great
There's
addition
plenty
to
of
our
those
city.
out
And
there.
are you already set up in the practice in this area, or?
I'm currently incoming.
Okay.
So it's Sawney Animal Clinic, but grew up in the area, and the goal's always been to get back down this way. So
Thank you for considering Alpharetta.
it's hard not to. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you.
I see one individual in the audience. Don't know whether you're an applicant or this, I'm opening this for public comments. I only see you and you're an applicant. So I open and shut the public comment session. Anything else you'd like to add before I turn this over to the board? Okay, it's up to you. What do you want to do?
Commissioner, I would like to make a motion to approve MP-25-05/CU-25-07. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Wait a minute. Sorry.
It's not D.
Thank you.
CU-25.
D.
CU-25-08 VPP Animal Hospital. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. And it will go before council on May 19th, 2025. It's 3 weeks from now. All right. The next item is MP-25-05 /CU-2507 Northwood Summit MP Veriport. I haven't seen one of these since I've been in the commission. It's the first one.
The next application, the area is shown to you on the screen, and the applicant, Carrie Armstrong, is requesting a master plan amendment and conditional use to allow a heliport, public-private, for a vertiport to be located on the top level of a parking deck, which will service nearby future commercial and office uses. There are no current development plans to construct the vertiport or parking deck. However, the applicant wants to ensure the use is permitted if requested to be incorporated into future development. And this could even be something that's part of a public-private partnership for the vertiport. Property is located at 1000 Summit Place at the southeast corner of Haynesbridge Road and Summit Place. Property is zoned mixed use and is subject to the Northwinds master plan. Surrounding properties are O and I to the north and east and south, and MU to the west. Just to remind you, the Northwind Summit master plan, I'll put that up here. It's a little over 24 acres, mixed-use development, approved with 140-unit for rent building for the for first floor active uses were also included within the rental. We just issued a permit for the AC hotel that's planned right across from where they're planning to put the deck with the vertiport. And then there's an existing office. They also have over 1 million square feet of zoned for office that they could develop in the future. So there's quite a lot of development potential. And they also have the for sale condos that are under construction and coming onto the market. And these are for sale units. A heliport public-private is generally defined as a landing and a takeoff place for a helicopter. The applicant's request relates to a vertiport, of which the closest use we have within our UDC is the heliport, and it's the most similar use that we have. A vertiport is associated with advanced air mobility, which refers to the transport of passengers and cargo short to medium range distances using new and emerging aircraft technologies. Of course, the difference, helicopters need more runway. The vertiport is the vertical takeoff, so you don't need as much of a location. And he did submit a site plan. I'll show you that. So the site plan depicts the vertiport on the top level of the future parking deck. And there's also a retail component that's shown along at the first level. And also at the first level, besides the 10,000 square foot retail, the parking deck would have 3 different levels, with the first level for retail and office parking, so that would be shared. The second level would be controlled access parking, and then the third level would be for the vertiport. And they're showing 4 different landing areas here. We have several other mixed-use developments that already allow a heliport by right, and we would allow that back in the 90s, 2000s as part of any mixed-use development or office development. We thought that we would have a lot of those actually constructed in Alpharetta, but we've moved toward different technologies, so now you'll probably see more requests that we add the allowances for the vertiport. The applicant notified property owners within 500 feet. The report states that no comments were received, and of course we had the citizen zoning information meeting, and we didn't have any comments during that meeting. We reviewed the applicant's proposal against the review criteria for a master plan amendment and conditional use, and we believe the proposed vertiport would be compatible with the surrounding properties, which are primarily developed and approved as office buildings. Heliport public-private uses are commonly located on office building rooftops, parking decks, as well as surface parking lots. In addition, we have several master plans in the city that already allow a heliport. We are recommending approval of MP 2505 CU 2507 with 4 conditions. 1, heliport public-private shall be added as a conditional use in the master plan. 2, also shall be added as a conditional use limited to the submitted plans depicting a vertiport on the top level of a parking deck. And 3, developer shall submit a fire risk assessment in accordance with NFPA. Of course, that's the National Fire Protection Association, which shall be approved by the local authority having jurisdiction, because there can be multiple authorities having jurisdiction, depending on if we're looking at the flight plan, the actual terminal itself. There'll be multiple parties that will look at the approvals. And then 4, developer shall provide evidence of compliance with FAA standards for planning, design, and construction of the proposed facility. And that concludes staff recommendation. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those.
Thank you. How many of these do we have operational currently in Alpharetta?
This will be the first one. If it's approved, this would be the first one, but the heliports, we do not have any heliports located in Alpharetta. In fact, when we have had business owners from out of state come in, we've usually tried to work with the churches to be able to allow their helicopters to land. Yeah. So that with the technology changing, now you're not gonna need as much runway because you have the vertical lift and takeoff landing.
All right, any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've got one. Thanks, Kathy, for
Yes.
the presentation. Just, this is a little nit question, but I'm assuming with the staff's recommendation for approval that you're comfortable a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if a member of the public came forward and said, hey, this is approved for the use as a heliport, and this is a Veriport, or I've seen the term Veristop, and the applicant is not using it per se for the use that's approved for that location, I assume there's no concern with that. I know that heliport is the closest to.
Right. So.
It's a nit
Yeah,
question.
and so we're okay with the heliport, but
Okay.
in order to meet the heliport standards, there's going to have to be a longer runway area than what's shown here. So any request that came in, and if it was for the heliport, then we'd be okay with that, but you're probably looking at a change to condition because we had said it must be here, located here. Well, you're probably looking back here, depending on the tree cover, if it's going to be something that's the heliport, because you're going to need more room than what you have here. So they would have to come back as a change of condition because we conditioned it to this particular site plan.
Okay, thank you.
And just so I can understand completely here, no concerns with the proximity of the residential and the hotel?
No,
There are operating hour limitations that the city has?
that's correct. And this equipment, the new equipment, it's much quieter. It's
Well, no, I know, but-
amazingly quiet, yes.
So there's no requirements, okay, for sound or operating hours or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. I'm going to ask you, the applicant, to come forward, and there may be some questions from the commissioners.
Good evening. I'm Kerry Armstrong. I'm Managing Director with Pope and Land Enterprises here in Atlanta. And I live at 2200 Sugarloaf Club Drive, Duluth, Georgia. I appreciate your time and attention this evening. What we didn't really specifically cover is that the concept here is specifically for eVTOL aircraft, electronic vertical takeoff and landing. They do arrive and depart vertically, as opposed, as Kathy said, to a helicopter, which needs some runway, so to speak, to operate. We really started this, became involved in conversations about advanced air mobility as part of the conversation about mobility for our region. And we stumbled onto our own site and said, well, let's see what one would look like there and see why it might not work. So we collaborated with manufacturers, with the state, with the FAA, with everybody we can find who's smart about these things. And we can't find anything wrong with this site. Notably, the question about noise was brought up. I know it requires some suspension of disbelief, but these things that take off and landing generate the same noise as a residential vacuum cleaner. You will not hear it because you'll hear the traffic on 400 before you hear this thing. It would be a great asset to the community. There's a possibility that this would be the first in the state, which is appropriate in many levels, not the least of which Archer, one of the the leaders in the manufacturing of these aircraft, is finishing its facility to make them here in Metro Atlanta. So could be a great win for the community. We think it's a potential great attribute for our park. The hotel people love it. They'll probably invite you to have a drink on the rooftop and watch them take off and land. The other thing that's important is, if you notice, the entire property is adjacent to 400. Therefore, it's entirely over public airspace now. So this would never have to take off and land over really anything other than Georgia 400. Georgia 400 has been designated by the FAA as an air taxi corridor. So all the pieces are coming together, and we think it's a real possibility. And just for an indication, if you got on one of these things here and took it to Hartsfield-Jackson, it would take 20 minutes. And so
Wow, does that sound nice?
Pardon me?
Wow, does that sound nice?
Well, I can't promise how long it takes once you get to Hartsfield-Jackson, but we're talking to them about that. Anyways, it's an exciting possibility, an exciting project, I think, for the community and for our park, and we hope you'll give it positive consideration. May I
What
answer
is
any
the
questions?
capacity? How many people, the largest one that,
The design concept currently is one pilot and either 4 or 6 passengers. I've sat in one, they wouldn't take it off, but I sat in one that was a pilot and 2 passengers and luggage. We're working through a lot of the details. This is an industry that's forming as we speak, and it's amazing how many answers are getting resolved quickly as this comes together. The design concepts that I've seen, probably the largest would be 6 passengers, and the monetary concept is for the manufacturers and those involved in it, or to make a ride from here to the airport, Hartsfield-Jackson, for example, approximately the cost per passenger of an Uber Black. So it's not just for rich folks to get somewhere. It's actually affordable when you add up all the costs associated with just mobility in Atlanta. And it's not limited to air taxis just to the airport. I mean, once these things are airborne, and there is a network of them, certainly it's a 10 to 15 minute ride to the hospital complex at 400 and 285. I imagine there will be a lot of these around the state, and particularly around Metro Atlanta. I know other communities are considering them and trying to figure out how to do it. We just think ours is best. So I think it's a great program.
how much do they cost?
How much does what cost?
The value of one of these, how much?
The aircraft?
Yes.
They won't tell me. Right now, they're very expensive. They are in use.
Yeah.
New York City has a test program going. Overseas, they're in use a number of places. The military is buying a lot of them. The 2 leaders in the industry seem to be Joby and Archer. And everybody's working to figure out the metrics and the economics of the whole project. It's a fascinating business, and it's almost kind of coming to life as we speak.
I was excited to see this because I couldn't think of any other. That's why I was asking the question, how many do we have in Alpharetta? And being the first one in the state, or potentially the first one in the state, is exciting.
Yeah. These are vehicles typically have, unlike a helicopter, they actually have an airfoil. There's a wing. They have 6 electric motors rather than 1. So an engine failure or 2 is not life-threatening. And these are all designed with parachutes, not unlike the Cirrus aircraft. So if something really goes wrong, they have the ability to glide for a way to get to a landing spot. If not, they can pull a parachute and land it on your microphone. So it's for an old guy, this is fun to talk about. So.
I can see. That's wonderful. Do you have any questions?
I just have one question. Besides the air taxi use, are there other uses?
Yeah,
Anything
there's
in the-
several being contemplated. Medevac, disaster response. I know that like the emergency management associations are looking at these ways to get someplace quickly, almost surgically, rather than what you would need for a larger helicopter operation. Every time I go to a meeting, somebody's coming up with a new idea.
What about on the, I know they're smaller than a typical, in a plane, of course, but any package delivery uses?
Possibly, yeah, but there's a lot of progress being made in the drone delivery world. This might work for larger packages, certainly, or larger amounts of cargo per trip, but they're really not designed for, I'm going to take this and deliver it to Carrie's house.
Right. The other question I had was just on the overall concept. I mean, I know we're here to recommend approval or denial on the Veriport use and the heliport use, But the big picture concept, is it the case that you are going to be the owner or developer or developer of the retail, the controlled access parking, and that entire structure is going to be you, or you?
No. Well, initially, yes. We will be at least a joint venture partner in the creation of the asset. Ultimately, and again, this world's being figured out, ultimately there would probably be an operator that specializes in this type of use. The ownership, we don't want to own it long-term. It's not the type of thing we plan to do every day. There's a better owner. It's probably either the city or the state, or I'm going to go over here, the city or the state or some other entity. These were now, well, as of today, there was legislation either signed or not signed by the governor that puts vertiports within the Georgia Department of Transportation. So it fits into the general aviation category. That's primarily a funding consideration, but that is in place now. So we're just real estate developers. But we had a great idea, and we got some people that agree with us, and so we're working to get it there. It's possible that we will build it and then hand it off. The retail component, we don't know what that's going to be. For all we know, it's going to be a terminal. It could be a TSA checkpoint. We don't know, but we wanted to characterize it on the plan so that we knew we had that piece that could be used. And as the industry forms more, we'll know how that'll be used.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes, sir, ma'am.
Been here a long time and have watched Pope and Land. They've been here ever since I've been here, leading the way, developing in North Fulton. And this is an exciting thing to look at. It's a brand new thing.
Yeah.
And I got to believe that anything that'll carry people around Metro Atlanta in a more efficient way, we have endless opportunities for use for that.
You're very kind. Thank you for the comment, and we agree.
Any other questions? All right, no further questions at this time.
Thank you.
We have one person in the audience. Do you like to speak in favor or against?
Related to me.
Oh,
That's my better half.
oh, I did not know that. He can still speak.
I'm for it.
He's for it.
He can still speak. All right, thank you. Nice to meet you. I'm going to turn this over to the board for consideration.
Kathy, I have one quick question for you. Sorry to make you get up again. So when I skimmed this a couple days ago, and heliport screamed something else, and I had to do a deep dive into understanding what the vertiport was. We just have that language in the conditions because that's what our code states, right?
That's right. That's the closest. So when we have a request for a use, we have to find the closest use within our Unified Development Code. So that was the closest use.
Okay.
But we felt comfortable because, we have conditions in here that are restricting it to a site plan with a vertiport on the top level of the parking deck.
Yeah, I think it was confusing to me, vertiport, and then it was listing heliport.
And we may do a text amendment
Yeah.
to just kind of fix
Yeah.
that within the UDC in the next couple months when we bring something else forward. And we'll just put heliport/vertiport.
Yeah, I think that would be great, because I think
Agree.
if it's reported in the community, in the paper, as a heliport,
That's a good point.
I think it could be open Pandora's box of language.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So maybe going forward, we'll put it in parentheses, vertiport.
And the way located, vertiports are almost like a subset of heliport.
Because it's different.
It's almost, because there are additional
Especially the
requirements.
noise.
They're different, but these would meet their needs.
So maybe.
But there needs to be clarity in the code, too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I think because it could be misrepresentational for the
Yep.
community. 'Cause
We'll do a text edit. We'll edit and bring that forward to add it.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
All right. Anyone wants to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, Chairman, to approve MP-25-05/CU-25-07 Vertiport Northwind Summit Master Plan, subject to the following conditions as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. It's going to go before council on May 19th. Again, just like the other item. Anything else for discussion by the board? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. And it's now
Thank you, sir.
7:05.
Record time. You know what? I brought you good luck.
All right.
At least 5 cases.
Are you serious?
Are they big though?
Oh.
One of them I think is big.
Oh, for next month?
Yeah, we have a lot of them that just keep getting
Well, they get
deferred. We've probably got the one at Empire. The wedding venue is still